For this programming. For information on producing programs for public access, write to Manhattan Cable Television's Programming Department, 120 East 23rd Street, New York, 10010, and request a Community Programming Handbook.
I'm Mark Heskin. Welcome to my craft show. We're just out here in the woods picking some cattails. We're going to use these cattails later in our show when we create a spectacular fall wreath. The fall is my favorite time of year. And what better way to celebrate the season than to collect a festival of fall cuttings from your woods, from your garden, even your own backyard, and incorporating them into a special fall display. It could be a display that you could use indoors or out. The wreath we're going to make today will hang outside here at our farm in North Dakota. But before I left New York, I also made a simple fall display which I put in my apartment. So that's what I did in my apartment in New York. It's not going to be nothing compared to what I'm going to do up here at our farmhouse in North Dakota. I love these cattails. What a great toy. I love playing with these. They're so neat. And when they go to seed like this, they're probably best to use outside. Because as you can see, I can create a mess. Well, let's head over to another part of the woods and find what else we can use to incorporate into our wreath. This was the stuff I'm talking about. Look, I told you it kind of reminds me of baby's breath. A little bit. And boy, this is gonna look great in our fall wreath. Yeah, this will really fill out the wreath. I like this a lot. This tree up here kind of caught my eye. I thought, for a while I thought maybe it had a disease or something. Because it has these, well, I guess it's something growing on it. But if that other stuff looks like baby's breath, well then this must look like angel hair. These are kind of, I don't know what these are, but these are kind of neat. Let's take some of these. Now, I'm afraid we might run out of time. So what I'm going to do is continue down here collecting some of these things for our wreath. And I'll meet you back up at our farm when I'm ready to make the wreath. If I find anything outstanding, I'll
I'll show it to you then, but I don't want to run out of time. And you got the general idea. You just got to go around and find stuff that you think would look nice. So I'll catch you in a bit.
Hi, I'm Mark's mom, Dorothy Heskin. While Mark is down in the woods, I'm up here in the kitchen mixing flatbread. It's a Norwegian bread. We usually make it only like Christmas and Thanksgiving, and it's a real thin bread, thinner than even a cracker. You mix it up, roll it out, and bake it in the oven. I'll tell you what I have in here. I'll show you. This is what it looks like before it's rolled. I've put in there 1 box of Jiffy corn muffin mix, 2 tablespoons of melted margarine, 3 tablespoons of quick oatmeal, a scant tablespoon of sugar, 1/2 cup white flour, 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon soda, and 3/4 cup of buttermilk. And you mix all that together and let it set for 20 minutes. Then you roll it out and bake it at about 350 for a few minutes. Turn it over and bake it until it's brown. I think it's just about ready to roll out now. I'll tell them what I'm going to roll it in. Okay, I'm going to use a pastry frame, pastry cloth, and I'm going to flour this with a mixture of whole wheat and white flour. And there's a groove rolling pin and there's a cloth covered one, whichever works best for you. Today I'm using the cloth covered one. It's working pretty good. Take a small amount, get it floured good, and roll just as thin as you can roll it. And turn it over so the flour gets on real well. And just roll as thin as you can. It doesn't matter what shape it's in because I'm going to be cutting this in pieces. You can either cut it before you bake it or you can just break it up after you bake it. But it's easier to handle in smaller pieces to get off your pastry cloth. Okay, I think it's about as thin as I'm going to get it, so I'm going to cut this so that it's easier to move over to the pan I'm going to bake it in. There's many recipes for flatbread. This is just one that I'm finding that's a little easier to roll than some I've tried before. Baking this, it takes probably less than 10 minutes. You have to watch it real close, so it takes time to make it. It says to turn it over, but sometimes it browns on both sides without turning it. I'll check and see. There, I'll turn it over for just a minute. Get it a little more brown on the other side. Another minute. To do this, one could be rolling while the other is watching it. Out of that small mixture you saw in the bowl, this is what I got out of it. This is a very small recipe and it can be doubled. We always put butter on it, butter or margarine, whichever you prefer. And to keep it, it should be kept in a container just loosely covered in a warm, dry area. Then it'll stay crisp for a long time. I think I see Mark coming up from the woods now, so he's probably ready to show you how he's going to make a wreath.
Here in our garage, I possibilities to use for the bases for our wreath. First I found this inner tube, and well, it would have worked, but then I found this hula hoop, and this is a bit bigger, so this is what we're going to use for the frame for our wreath. And alright, I will try do the hoop. I don't know if I can do this. No, let me try one more time. Alright, I'm better at making wreaths. We'll be back in a moment. Okay, now for the fun part. Additional things I got. We went in the sunflower field and got some sunflowers. My dad went into a cornfield and got some corn cobs for me. And we have a tree over here that has little red berries on it in the fall. On my craft show last spring when I was here, it was in bloom. I can show you a picture of that. And now it has little red berries on it. So I picked a couple of those. And I'm just gonna, you could use wire, or I'm gonna use thread, I think, to attach this stuff to my hoop. And I'm not gonna bore you with the whole long process, but I'll just give you a few highlights. Layer of stuff tied on, and the problem so far is that I have a lot of these thistle things, and they have stickers, and it keeps sticking my fingers, and also it's windy today, and some of this stuff keeps blowing away, but I'm plugging away, so. Guess what? I'm all done. And it's temporarily hanging here in our garage, and I wanted to give you a good look at it before I hang it outside up by our house. I used an old burlap sack to make the bow, and I especially like the yellow corn that my dad picked. I thought that looked real nice, as well as the cattails, the pine cones. So I had a lot of fun doing it, and I think it turned out pretty good. Now, I'm also going to do another project up by our house, on our little deck outside our back door. I'm going to make a couple scarecrows. So why don't we head up and do that now, and I'll tell you how I do that. I have this one scarecrow almost done. But I'm going to make another one here. And what I use a log that'll stand up by itself, although I did tie this here to the railing so it won't blow over. And then I just set the pumpkins. Here's my other pumpkin. I set the pumpkins up here like this after I get clothes on. So that's how I make my scarecrows, and then I stuff them with newspaper and also some corn stalks. And I think they turn out pretty good. I carved the pumpkins earlier. These are some pumpkins we grew here on our farm, and they weren't really choice pumpkins. They weren't real nice. Like this one has marks on its face, kind of a skin condition, but I thought I would use them anyway. And I carved them earlier. You can take a look at that. And then you can watch me while I construct the second scarecrow.
Dear Great Pumpkin, I'm looking forward to your arrival on Halloween night. I hope you will bring me lots of presents. Who are are you riding to, Linus? This is the time of year to ride to the Great Pumpkin. On Halloween night, the Great Pumpkin rises out of his pumpkin patch and flies through the air with this bag of toys for all the children. You must be crazy. When are you going to stop believing in something that isn't true? When you stop believing in that fellow with the red suit and the white beard who goes ho, ho, ho. We are obviously separated by denominational differences. You must get discouraged because more people believe in Santa Claus than in you. Well, let's face it, Santa Claus has had more publicity. But being number 2, perhaps you'll try harder. A letter to a stupid pumpkin? You make me the laughing stock of the neighborhood. All they talk about is my little brother, who always writes to the Great Pumpkin. You better cut it out right now or I'll pound you. There are 3 things I have learned never to discuss with people: religion, politics, and the Great Pumpkin. You're wasting your time. The Great Pumpkin is a fake. Everyone tells me you are a fake, but I believe in you. P.S. If you really are a fake, don't tell me. I don't want to know. What are you doing, Linus? I'd rather not say. You might laugh. Oh, I never laugh at you, Linus. You're so intelligent. I'm riding to the Great Pumpkin. You say the cutest things. On Halloween night, the Great Pumpkin rises out of the pumpkin patch and flies through the air to bring toys to all the good little children everywhere. Wouldn't you like to sit with me in the pumpkin patch on Halloween night and wait for the Great Pumpkin?
So, I'm all done with the project up here. As you saw, I finished the scarecrows, and now I just hung my wreath up here. This is where it's going to stay. I think this is a nice spot for it. It's right outside our back door here. I want to give you another good look at the wreath. Yeah, I thought it turned out pretty good. I have another project I have to do. Each year here in our town, here in Portland, North Dakota, they have a Halloween party for the children. And this year I'm in charge of decorating a big pumpkin that they're going to have the kids guess the weight of. And we have it over here in my father's workshop, and I have to come up with some kind of a design to decorate it. So why don't we head up? Well, all right. Here comes my sister Catherine and her friend Brian. They must be coming up to see my pumpkin. Hi.
Brian and I have been looking all over for my blue and white hula hoop. Have you seen it, Mark?
Well, eventually, Catherine and I did work everything out. And I did decorate that giant pumpkin for the Halloween party. And I even made some Halloween posters to advertise the event. But that all happened a year ago. This year, Catherine and I will be celebrating Halloween here in New York. And she's with me today to co-host this last part of my craft show with me. Welcome back, Catherine.
Thanks, Mark. Nice to be here.
It's good to have you here.
Well, great.
This year, I added a little bit to my Halloween decorations in my apartment here in New York. I wanted to show you this ghost that I made using a sheer curtain. And I also made some leaves to hang. So that's what I did this year.
What do we have coming up for the rest of today's show, Mark?
Well, you may remember we had a Twin Peaks contest here on my show. And those that wrote in with the correct answers to the trivia questions get to have 3 minutes of airtime here on my show. And today we have another winner. His name is Tony Gray.
Tony Gray, and I was one of the winners of the Twin Peaks contest that Mark Heskin did on the show. And for my 3 minutes, I decided to share my gift wrapping techniques with you all. And I chose a Twin Peaks theme. Some of the images are from Twin Peaks. And yeah, I'd like to show you those now. Well, what I do is I collect a lot of images. I have magazines and a lot of tissue and some pattern books and just other kinds of things, old cards, note cards and things like that. And I think about who it's for, who the gift is going to be for, and how I want to put things together. So I choose some colors. You know, there's a lot of colors in the tissue paper. And for the first one, on the Twin Peaks theme, I found an image of Joan Chen, and I put that was the basic wrap, you know, the under wrap. And then, you know, I had some other paper. I had a picture of a tree and a thing that looks like a plaid flannel shirt, and a little Tyrolean guy there. And just, you know, combine them. It's sort of idiosyncratic, and it's kind of fun. And on the second one, there's a picture of the woman that plays Audrey, Charlene Finn, and I didn't have a picture of the Cooper character, so I just got this old Kin doll picture. And there's a fight going on, a barroom brawl, and it sort of looks Twin Peaks. You know, again, it's sort of fun, sort of odd. But there's a lot of different combinations and a lot of different things that you can do. You can choose your own. You can choose something that has to do with your friends or some inside joke or whatever. Right now I'm going to open up one of the packages that I wrapped previously. This one happens to be on an Asian theme, and I just want to, you know, show you what it looks like when it's open, you know, and how much of a surprise it is. And here it is. Here's the package, and it's got some textures on it. And this is for someone, like maybe someone isn't feeling so bad or they have a lot of problems, and you want to wrap it nicely for them, and you could give them back trouble book, hay fever book, handbook. You know, it could help someone out, and make them feel good, and have a happy Halloween.
It was real fun to meet Tony and visit his apartment. One thing in his apartment I wanted to show you is this neat greenhouse that Tony converted into a bedroom. I can only imagine what it must be like to sleep in this bedroom when snow is falling or when it's raining out. It was just a really neat room.
That looks really nice. So, Mark, have you made any TV appearances lately?
Well, yes, I have. Here we can see me on Sally Jesse Raphael. I'm with my friend Brian Scott Carr. And the topic on this day was divorced people that still get along with their exes, their ex-spouses, yeah. And here we can see me on Phil Donahue. I'm with my friend John Radwick. And the topic on this day was divorced people who get back together with their exes. And I even asked a question.
Tied his shoes without me at first, you know?
Jeannie, is Jeannie still working? Are you still working, Jeannie?
You bet.
You are.
You bet I am.
Yeah.
You can sure tell I have my own TV show, can't you?
Jeannie, is Jeannie still working? Are you still working, Jeannie? Jeannie, is Jeannie still working? Are you still working, Jeannie? Jeannie, is Jeannie still working? Are you still working, Jeannie? Jeannie, is Jeannie still working? Are you still working, Jeannie? Jeannie, is Jeannie still working? Are you still working, Jeannie? Jeannie, is Jeannie still working? Are you still working, Jeannie?
You bet.
You are.
You bet I am.
Yes.
Yes, Lee and I speak together.
Now let's get back to the Halloween theme of today's show. Here's a clip from an earlier episode where I tell you about a pet peeve of mine. Let me show you the scarecrows. I've seen scarecrows, people make scarecrows before. I get tired of seeing scarecrows sitting in lawn chairs. People never seem to be able to come up with a design so the scarecrows can stand up. Last year, we drove around town and took a look at some of the Halloween displays in my hometown of Portland, North Dakota. You tell me what you think.
If you take your love from me, my child, I would be a ghost in a little while. I'll be a blue ghost, 'cause I know I'd die. I would be so blue until eternity. If you ever take your love from me, I'd be a blue ghost, 'cause I need your love. Ghosts come in colors, baby, I'd be blue. A ghost doctor wouldn't know what my...
While out looking at fall decorations, I also saw another sign of fall. I saw a group of geese flying south for the winter. Here they are in the air. They come down to North Dakota from Canada, and they stop here to feed once in a while. So here are some geese.
If ghosts come in colors, baby, I'd be blue. A ghost doctor wouldn't know what to do. He'd say,
Besides my own display, this was the favorite display that I saw. Near this farm out in the country, there was also an old schoolhouse. I thought this was rather nice too.
'Cause I need your love. I'd be a blue ghost, 'cause I need your If you take your love from me, my child, I would be a ghost in a little while. I'll be a blue ghost, 'cause I know I'd die. I would be so blue until eternity. If you ever take your love from me, I'd be a blue ghost, 'cause I need your love. If you take your love from me, my child, I would be a ghost in a little while. I'll be a blue ghost, 'cause I know I'd die. I would be so blue until eternity. If you ever take your love from me, I'd be a blue ghost, 'cause I need your love. Ghosts come in colors, baby, I'd be blue. A ghost doctor wouldn't know.